God bless everybody. Today it is July 29th of 2024, and this is a quick Middle East update. We've had some harsh rhetoric from Erdogan of Turkey in the last 24 to 48 hours, and I wanted to just do a quick update and let you know what's going on out here. So Israel has a lot on their plate right now. They've got a front in the south with Palestine and Hamas, and they're trying to figure out how to deal with that and stabilize that battle down there, as well as Hezbollah is breaking out in the north and east above Israel in Lebanon, and that is going to break out soon and potentially turn into an additional war. Now, since October 7th, when Hamas attacked and invaded Israel, kidnapped all those people and killed over 1,000 people in Israel, and then we had a proclamation of war against Hamas shortly after that on October 9th. We also saw something else happen. We saw a ramping up of Hezbollah between Hezbollah and Israel on October 8th, and you started a new conflict there because really nothing had been, I mean, they've had a number of things happening over there, but really it had not ramped up since the Israeli-Lebanon war conflict back in 2016. So this has been fairly quiet on a lot of fronts until just recently. But now we've also had an attack into Golan Heights from Hezbollah. At least that's what everybody thinks has happened here. It killed a number of people, children and things on a soccer field and different things like that. And so there's going to be some retaliatory strikes from Israel into Lebanon, into Hezbollah, and we've also had a number of high-level ranking officials and military leaders in Lebanon die here recently, and so this has been ramping up. But the thing I really wanted to bring to your attention is we have new rhetoric from Erdogan that's going to start to ramp this up even more. So if you've been following this channel or the news at all, you realize that Erdogan is not a big fan of Israel. They're their nemesis, and we also realize that Erdogan and Turkey are going to be the one that changes the Middle East in the near future and bring a quarter of that, or basically a quarter of the world in the Middle East into war here in the next year and a half. And so this is extremely important. Turkish president believes that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. He probably also believes that against Hezbollah also, and so it's going to be interesting to see when Turkey does invade down into Syria, down into Lebanon, through Israel, to Gaza, to Palestine, how he's going to be looked at when he goes down through there with all these radical different groups and things like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and things like that. Now, based on everything that we know in the Bible, these countries don't really get along, but they will unify to destroy Israel, and so that's extremely important. So the thing I wanted to bring to your attention is Turkey's Erdogan has threatened to invade Israel over war in Gaza as the regional tensions grow. And I believe this will be more of a situation problem as we move forward, because this ramp up between Hezbollah and Israel is also taking place, and this is going to break out in a major way soon. So Turkey has been extremely vocal in a number of ways. We've done multiple articles and multiple videos about how Turkey's been threatening Netanyahu and calling him Hitler, and how he's basically wanting to go down and help the Palestinian people because they're not getting enough aid. Now you've got this additional front moving in Lebanon, and so that's an additional problem. You've also had the Houthis literally attack into Tel Aviv through a drone, and so this is all ramping up in front of us. But now Erdogan is literally threatening to potentially invade Israel, just as they did in Karabakh and Libya, and that they will do the same. And because he was victorious basically in both of these campaigns, he's threatening Israel that it'll end up the same way for them. And so I just wanted to bring a little bit of this information to your attention so that you're aware of what's going on out here. It indicates that Jerusalem and Ankara traded sharp barbs on Sunday, with President Erdogan seeming to threaten military action against Israel as tensions heated up between Jewish state and the Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. Israel fired back and said that they warned Erdogan that his fate could be akin to the former Saddam Hussein, which was the Iraqi president that was literally hung. And that changed that whole dynamic over there. Actually, it was pretty stable, even though Saddam Hussein was a bad guy. He kept the area stable. Once he was removed and hung, that whole region fell apart. And so every time, even if you remove a dictator, there's a vacuum that occurs, and that has to be filled by somebody. And usually there's not good players to fill these vacuums, and so it ends up being bad. Indicates that Erdogan is following in the indicates that Israel states that Erdogan is following in the footsteps of Saddam Hussein by threatening to attack Israel. He should remember what happened there and how it ended, by hanging. And so they're basically saying, look, you might end up in the same place, Erdogan, if you try this. And so this rhetoric is getting extreme, and this is going to boil over into a war, as it always does. Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz wrote in a post on X in which he linked a photograph of Erdogan and Hussein. The Turkish foreign minister on Monday compared Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the World War II German Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler in a post on X. Just as genocidal Hitler ended, so will genocidal Netanyahu, the post stated. Just as the genocidal Nazis were held accountable, those who tried to destroy the Palestinians will also be held accountable, it added. Humanity will stand with the Palestinians. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan wrote on X that Erdogan had become the voice of humanity's conscience. Oh man, is that saying a mouthful? Yeah, like Erdogan is the humanity's conscience, as he's genociding the Armenians, he's genociding the Kurds, and he's getting ready to go down into Iraq, into Iraq, Syria, down into Lebanon, down into Palestine, and down into Egypt, and all these other things. And before he's even done, he's going to remove Iran as a power. That is a mouthful to say. But anyway, the international community doesn't get much, and so this is why we're here. And that's one of the reasons Trump and a lot of us aren't really big on the UN, because if you look at the UN's mandates, a lot of times Israel is always getting the shaft, basically. So it's just the way it works, guys. Nobody likes Israel. It says here, international Zionist circles, especially Israel, who want to suppress the righteous voice, are in great alarm. History ended the same way for all genociders and their supporters. Well, maybe you ought to think about that, Erdogan, because you're a genocider also. Erdogan said earlier on Sunday that Turkey might enter Israel, an invasion, as it has done in Libya and Karabakh, but did not specify the type of intervention he was suggesting. Now, I want to suggest something here, and I've talked about this many times. For Erdogan to get to Palestine, he has no ability to get there other than through Israel. Because if you go down into Syria, down into Lebanon, then the only way to get to Palestine from there is to go between Jerusalem and Jordan, which means he has to go through Israel. So to help the Palestinian people, he doesn't have a choice. He can't really go around and to fly everything in and try to deal with that on an air type transport system basis is not going to work. So he's going to need armor, and that's going to have to be driven down through there. He can't go around Jordan and different things like that. He's going to go down into Lebanon. He has to help Hezbollah and the Lebanese people as that breaks out, as well as he has to go down into Palestine and help Hamas and the Palestinian people. Now, how will these radical groups like Hamas and Hezbollah interact with Turkey, and how will Assad deal with Turkey as they're trying to normalize their relationships? And that's always been on the rocks. And so will Assad actually allow Turkey to go down into his country, or will that be also an additional front of war that Erdogan will have to deal with before he gets down into Lebanon? The article goes on and says Erdogan has been a fierce critic of Israel's military campaign into Gaza to destroy Hamas, began discussing the war during his speech praising his country's defense industry. Erdogan states, "We must be very strong so that Israel can't do these ridiculous things to Palestine, just like when we entered Karabakh, just like when we entered Libya, we might do similar to them." And he's talking about Israel. Erdogan told a meeting to his ruling AK party in his hometown of Rice, "There is no reason why we cannot do this." Let me restate that. There is no reason why we cannot do this. And so then you have to make the question, is he going to leave NATO to deal with the Palestinian Lebanese problem because he doesn't want to be in NATO and he doesn't align with them anyway, and he's a dictator, just like Putin, just like Xi, just like all these other guys. So we have to ask our question, is he going to leave NATO soon? Is he going to go into Syria, start down a campaign of invasion down into Lebanon as well as Palestine? I believe he will do that before the end of this year. But we're starting to see this ramp up in rhetoric as we move into the next few months into the end of this year. He indicates that we must be strong so that we can take these steps. So he's trying to get everybody unified. Erdogan added in a television address. So he's addressing the nation before they go in and do anything. So he's getting all of his stuff ready. Another thing that Erdogan has to deal with here is the delivery of the F-16 packages and the jets from the United States. And so he's going to get all this stuff in place before he breaks out, because he doesn't want to be shorted on these different fronts and things. And he needs those jets to control the airspace over all this area, over these areas that he's getting ready to invade, go down into Syria, Lebanon, through Israel, which Israel has a huge air force, and so air superiority is going to be extremely important over there, and so he needs to shore this up before that happens. The article also indicates that Erdogan's AK party representatives did not respond to calls asking for more details on Erdogan's statement. Israel did not immediately make any comment, but did later, and the president appeared to be referring to past actions by Turkey. So, as I've been saying for a while, guys, the white horseman of Revelation is Erdogan, and he's going to break out, and he's going to bring a quarter of the world into war before we start breaking trumpets and moving into an Antichrist phase. And so we need to be watching Turkey. Turkey is the main catalyst that's going to bring the Middle East into war, which is going to then reverberate throughout the world. You have a market meltdown getting ready to happen. You have an inversion of a yield curve between the 2 and 10-year bond happening. And you have a lot of things going on at the end of the month with a Fed meeting and different things like that. So basically everything is going to start breaking down in the next 4 to 5 months. And as we walk into the first of the year, things are going to get extremely crazy out here. So God bless and have a great night. I just wanted to inform you of this. Please find that open door. Please find Jesus and get right with God and get your oil in your lamp, because we have some time to get through this.